Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video I'm going over my everyday makeup drawer, going through the items that I chose for April and giving you my review on them, and then also making my new picks for May. So let's get started. First of all, we have this Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. Really enjoying using this. This is a really great primer and leaves my skin feeling nice and smooth, which I think is a great base to apply foundation to, so I'm going to keep this one in going forward. Foundation wise, I have the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear. This was a new one for me to try this month and it did come quite highly rated, but I was slightly disappointed by it. I did expect it to kind of look flawless, as a lot of people had said from the videos that I'd watched, but for me it just didn't quite look perfect. I do have a bit of kind of peach fuzz on my face and this really drew it out and made it look a lot worse than it usually is, and that was a bit of a problem for me. I also found it didn't give me the level of coverage that I was looking for, and that it did also cake ever so slightly on my forehead and around my brow area. Definitely not the worst foundation I've ever tried, but I wouldn't say it is one of my favourites, so I'm going to take this one out for next month. Then we have the Infallible Pro Glow, also by L'Oreal. This is probably one of my most favourite foundations that I have in my collection, and is definitely one of my go-to ones. I did reach this a couple of times when I wanted to sort of get out the door quite quickly, because I found with the Fresh Wear foundation more hard work to blend this in to look as seamlessly as this one, but this is definitely one of my favourites, and I think, to be honest, I'm going to use this going forward for the month of May. I feel like my light is flickering a bit during this video. I hope it's not too bad. I don't know what's going on. We are having pretty bad weather at the moment, so I don't know if it's something to do with the electrics. Then on to face products. First one we have is the Balm Mary Luminizer highlighter, and this is very much a staple in my collection. Perfect highlighter for the everyday kind of glow, and will definitely be keeping this one going forward, as I have done most months. The other highlighter we have is this Blossom Glow from Wet n Wild. This is my more kind of blinding highlighter, and I wasn't too sure on this shade before because it is a bit more of a pinky shade. I don't think it shows on camera very well, whereas the other one I have is a bit more bronzy, but this to me is more sort of spring and summery type tone, so I'm going to keep this one in going forward to May as well. And then we have the Balm Frat Boy Blush. This one I wasn't a big fan of to begin with, but the more I play with it, the more I enjoy using it. It is the perfect tone of blush when I just want that bit of extra colour, and that is something that I do tend to reach for in more warmer months, so I'm going to stick this one into May as well. And then we have the Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush. This is in the shade Harmony. We are making really good progress on getting this one finished up, so I'm obviously going to keep this one in as well, so that I can hopefully get it finished up within the next few months. And then finally, bronzer wise, we have the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. This is a really nice bronzer. I just honestly keep forgetting to reach for it. The last couple of months I've said I'm going to wear it more. I just haven't. I was going to take it out completely, but then it's not going to get used. Not that it is getting used now anyway, but I think I'm going to keep it in just for the hope that I will remember to reach for it and get some use out of it, because I do actually have a Benefit set that my husband bought me for Christmas, which includes this bronzer, the Hoola Light and a few blushes, and I haven't even opened it yet, so I definitely want to get round to that. Setting powder, I have the e.l.f. Under Eye HD setting powder. This is one that is in my project pan, and I am slowly but surely getting down there. I really love applying this under my eyes, as I feel like it sets my concealer really well and avoids it creasing, so I'm going to be keeping this one in for May as well. Another reason why I'm kind of putting a lot back in is because I do go on holiday for a couple of weeks in the month of May, so I'm not going to be here for a lot of the time to be using my everyday makeup drawer, so I didn't want to put too many new products in, especially ones that are kind of staples, so that's why a lot of these are just going straight back in. The other setting powder that I have is this Laura Mercier setting powder. I, again, haven't reached for this, as with the Hoola bronzer, keep saying I'm going to reach for it and just don't end up doing so, but I am actually going to take this out. I probably will reach back for it in the future, but at the moment it's just not what I'm kind of looking for in a setting powder. Concealer wise, I tried for the first time this month the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer, and I've not been able to give it a fair shot because this shade match is not right for me at all. I got the shade Light Beige. I was going to get the shade Light Peach, but from what I'd seen on people's videos, it was going to be too light for me. So I tried this one, which I think was the darkest of the light shades, and this is too light for me, and it is also too yellow toned. So what I think I'm going to try and do is when I go to the US, I'm going to see if I can try this in store and maybe swatch it and then give it another go, because it's not expensive. I think it's only £5 or $5, so I do want to properly try it out. But this shade match was not good for me at all, so it looked awful in that respect. So I'm definitely taking this one out for next month, but hoping to be able to pick up another shade if I can find one that matches me when I go on holiday. The concealer I have in here, which is looking rather sorry for itself, is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer. I've absolutely fell in love with this concealer. I am in the shade Natural Rose. This is the kind of peach tone that I'm looking for. I don't use it under my eyes, although I probably could, as I think it would cover the dark circles that I have, but I use this for my blemishes and then just to cover any redness that is sort of peeking through on any given day when I'm not wearing foundation. And say I absolutely love this. I think it's really affordable from what I can remember. You can get this in the UK, but this is probably another one I'm going to try and get while I'm in the US, because I presume it's going to be cheaper for me. This is going to go in for next month. I think I'm probably going to maybe finish it because I don't think I've got an awful lot left. And then the final concealer is my go-to YSL Touche Éclat concealer. This is the one that I use solely under my eyes, and I think I'm finally coming to the very end of this product. I think at this point I've now had this open for a year, and I use this at least 5 days a week, if not 7, and it's only now starting to run out. I now find I have to click it a couple of times on each eye to get enough product out, whereas I used to be able to do one click and do both eyes. I do have a backup of this all ready to go once this one runs out. Obviously this one's going to stay because it is one of my staples. Another staple is the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil. I'm in the shade 3. This to me is the ideal brow product. It's a really nice shade match for me, and it's also very quick and easy to do my brows. So this one will be staying in also. Then on to kind of miscellaneous products. We have the NYX Glitter Primer. This was put in here to replace my Milani one, and I am really enjoying using this. I do find that it is better to solely use for shimmer shades though. If I put this on my lid as a base for normal shadow, I find that it kind of skips over the lid when I'm trying to blend it out. So what I've started doing now is just applying my crease shade, the transition shade, and whatever, and my usually outer corner shade, and then I'll apply this on top to then go over with a shimmer shade just to make it pop that bit more and also stay in place. Really enjoy it, and I think I'm going to keep this one on to next month as well. Then this is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. For anyone who's been watching my channel for a while knows I don't like this, but I feel like I desperately need to try and get some money's worth out of it. So I continue to use it even though I don't like the smell. Don't feel like it really does anything for me, and again I'm going to put it through to next month, but in all honesty I'll probably use it less than 5 times in the month of April. And we have my lip balm, which is the Carmex Peach and Mango Fruit lip balm. I haven't had to reach for this as much in April because we've had a bit of warm weather here and my lips tend to get drier in the cold weather. I presume most people do. So I've not had to reach for this an awful lot. And to be honest, in the summer I don't tend to wear lip balms an awful lot, so I think I'm going to take this one out for May as I don't really need it in there. Then we'll go over eyeshadow palettes. This is the Makeup Revolution Heartbeats palette, and I have been really enjoying using this one, more so than I thought I would. What I paid for the palette, I think the quality is pretty good. The shadows do require building, but that's not a major issue to me. There's a nice array of shades in here. You've got browns, purples, golds, your silvers, your pinks, oranges and yellows and things, so definitely really recommend this palette. I think I paid £6 for it. I'm going to take this out for next month, as I do tend to always rotate my eyeshadow palettes, but would recommend this for the price that I paid, and I am really enjoying using it. Then we have the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. This is such a pretty palette, I just don't think it's for me. I kind of do regret purchasing this one, even though I did get it on sale and I didn't pay an awful lot. I just find myself a bit intimidated when I open this. I struggle to complete full looks. I do end up just reaching for this as kind of an accent palette as opposed to creating a full look from it. I think the colours are a bit too bright for what I tend to go for, and I will only wear bright colours when I'm filming videos or when I go on a night out. It is a really nice palette, the quality is there, it's just not for me. And then the final palette is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. This is another one that I've well and truly fell in love with. I wish I had purchased this one instead of the Urban Decay Born to Run palette, because I get so much more use out of this than I ever will out of that one. Born to Run is a nice palette, but again this is kind of my tones. I managed to create an array of different looks out of here Main shade I'll probably reach for is this one here, which is Turn On, but I think I've probably dipped into every single shade in here a good few times, and I love every look I create with this one, so I'm so glad I picked this one up. But again, obviously it's coming out for next month. Mascaras wise, we have the NARS Climax mascara. This was one I wasn't a fan of at the beginning, did end up loving it, and I think this one is at the end now because I found that I'm having to dip in a bit more. Really like the effect that it gives. I like that it's long lasting, it doesn't cause any flaking or smudging, and is also really easy to remove at the end of the day. I wouldn't necessarily consider repurchasing it, as I'm trying to not repurchase any high-end mascaras. I do think they have a mini of this though, so I may give that one a go. This and all the items here are going to be coming up for next month because I put fresh mascaras and fresh lipsticks in, as I'm usually trying something new. But yeah, really rate this one and looking forward to using it again in the future. We then have the Ico Sport Waterproof Mascara. This was one that I think I got as an extra freebie from the Latest in Beauty subscription box, and I just don't rate it at all. I've reached for it a good few times to keep testing it, but I just don't rate it at all. The packaging is really durable, which is good, but it has a really weird brush to it in that it's like thin and flat rather than a rounded brush. So I do find like a struggle to coat all my lashes without going over them a million times. It doesn't give that much of effect. I thought it'd be good for the lower lashes, but it's pretty awkward to try and do them with as well. So definitely don't recommend this, and I'm actually going to declutter this because I'm not going to get any more use out of it. Then we have the Colourpop BFF mascara. I just got this one in the shade black. They do have other colours. I really don't know where I stand with this one. I quite like the wand on it because it is tapered in the right places and it does apply really nicely. But this is one, if you apply sort of one coat too many, you will end up with spidery eyelashes, which I'm not a massive fan of. I would say it's probably one of the best volumizing mascaras I've tried in a while, but I do find that it does smudge by the end of the day, and also it does flake slightly. So I like it, but I don't love it, and I probably wouldn't repurchase if I'm honest. Then we have the Clinique Lash Power Mascara. This was one of my go-to mascaras for years. I really like the small wand on it, really long-lasting mascara, and it doesn't smudge, it doesn't flake. It can be a bit of a nightmare to get off, but it's one of those mascaras, if you fall asleep in it, you don't wake up with panda eyes, which is great for the times I forget to take my makeup off. But other than that, really rate it, and I think I've actually finished this tube up now because it was near the end when I began, so this one's going to get decluttered as well. This is the new Colourpop liquid liner. Again, I just got this one in the shade black. I think I got it with a set with the mascara, and this is another one that I like but don't love. It's a really dry formula, so it is easy to control in that respect. You can get a pretty decent line because it's dry, but not dry in that it's draggy. It's actually probably not like any eyeliner I've tried before. I did like the amount of control that I got with it, but it did take quite a few goes over to get the line that I wanted, and it was quite hard to not go too thick of a line sometimes because you did have to build it up. So it didn't drag on the skin, but it also didn't do a complete line, if that makes any sense at all. So it's not a bad eyeliner, but I definitely don't love it. So I'm going to take this one out for next month as well. Sticks wise, we have the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, and this one is in the shade Rebel Rose. This was my first time trying this formula, and I really love using it. My only issue that I have with this one is it does take quite a few dips into the bottle to get enough product out for a full application. Not a major issue, but just something that does bug me slightly. But definitely for the price of these, this is a really nice shade. They are so comfortable on the lips. It's a really thin formula, and they last a decent amount of time and fade down nicely. Can get a bit dry towards the end of the day, which reminds me that I do still have product left on my lips, but would really recommend these for the price, and I think I'm definitely going to purchase some more of these. We then have the Dose of Colours Liquid Lip, and this is in the shade Truffle. I still can't decide if I prefer the shade Truffle or Stone. I think it's Truffle only ever so slightly. Really nice formula. I did recently do a top 5 liquid lipstick formulas, and this was featured in there, so really enjoy using it. Would definitely consider purchasing a full size, but I obviously just need to decide whether I'm purchasing Truffle or Stone, but would highly recommend this formula. Then we have one of the Colourpop Disney Designer Collection, and this is the shade Ariel. This is a kind of peachy nude shade, and if I'm honest, it's a bit too peachy for me. I also don't find that I like this formula as much as the original Luxe lipstick formula. I feel like these drag on my lips a little bit more. I have the shade Ariel and I also have the shade Belle. This one is the drier out of the two. It's not a bad formula, I've definitely tried drier ones, but I do prefer the original Luxe lipstick formula. Then we have this lipstick by NYX, and this is in the shade Talia. This is a really nice moisturising lipstick, but it is quite shiny, which I don't think I'd remembered when I put this back in here. So it is quite moisturising, but I've had this one a long time. So I think I'm actually going to declutter this one from my collection because it probably is time for it to go anyway. And I did find myself, whenever I was putting it on, yes, it was moisturising, but I just didn't like the look and the finish of it. So I'm going to declutter this one because I just can't see myself reaching for it much in the future. Finally, we have a Tarte Colour Splash lipstick. This one is in the shade Surf's Up, and this was in here because it's my project pan. I don't think it looks like I've made much progress, but I've used this lipstick a lot this month and I have really enjoyed using it. I do like the shade, I do like the colour. That's the same thing. I do like the shade and I do like the formula. I was considering putting it forward into May to obviously get used to for the project pan, but I think it's too dark of a colour for the sort of spring season. So I'm going to take it out for now, but it might come back in shortly so that I can try and get it finished as much as possible. So onto the items that I'm going to put in for May's draw. First of all, I will just put back the things that I have taken forward from April, which is obviously quite a lot of products. So there we have the products that are coming forward from April, and now for the products that I'm going to add. Foundation wise, I want to give this Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define foundation another go. I do remember from when I used this last time, it did have a bit of a problem for settling into the fine lines on my forehead and making them look a bit worse than I think they are. So I want to give it another go using the Smashbox primer because I haven't used it with that before. I think when I last used it, I was using it with the Flower Beauty primer. So I want to give this one a go so I can make a decision once and for all whether I really hate the way it looks or it is actually an okay foundation, because I remember it looking really nice elsewhere on my face. It was just my forehead I had issues with. So I put this one back in here. For eyeliners, I'm going to stick back in my Milani Stay Put in the colour Hooked on Espresso, because I have actually missed having this to put in my waterline. I did take it out because I had an eye irritation, so I wanted to avoid putting things in my waterline, but I feel like that is completely better now, touch wood. So I'm happy to put this one back in and make use of it again. Liquid liner, I'm going to put in the Makeup Revolution Renaissance Flick eyeliner. This is one that I have actually only used a few times and I do remember quite liking it, more so than I think of the Colourpop one that was in for April, so I want to put this in here to fully use it for this month. And for eyeshadow palettes, I want to bring back in my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. This was one, I can't even remember which month I had it in now. Having it in this drawer made me love this palette more than I ever did, and I have kind of missed having it to reach for. I know I have it in my collection, but I do try and kind of stick to this drawer as best I can. So I thought I'd stick this back in here and give myself quite a few colours to play with and get back into using this one. I then want to stick in the Makeup Revolution Ocean's Treasure palette. After loving the Heartbeat one so much, I wanted to give this one a go because it does have more brighter spring summer shades in it, and also, but it does have a couple of darker shades in too. So I think this would be quite a good palette to have a play around with. Plus I've only used it a few times and want to make proper use out of it. So I thought I'd stick this in here to see how much actual practical use I can get out of it, because there are quite a few bright colours in it. And then the final palette is the Beauty Amethyst Obsessions palette, and this is obviously the purple toned one. I did really enjoy using this when I had this in here last, whatever month that was. So I want to give this one another go. I can't remember if it was actually the last month I had this one in, weird coincidence. But I have been reaching for the purples in the Heartbeats palette, so I thought I'd put this one in because I think I'll probably use this a few times as well. Mascara wise, as usual, I have quite a few new ones to try. The first one being the Maybelline Snap Mascara. This was one that I got in the latest in beauty box. Haven't even opened this or tried this yet because I did want to finish up some of the other mascaras I had open first, so excited to give this one a go. Then we have the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir Mascara. I think I got that in the same latest in beauty box. Another one I've not even opened yet, but excited to give a go. We then have one that I found in the bottom of my drawer, which is the 17 Falsify. I think I did get this a good while ago, but I've never opened it. I have just literally taken it out of the box, so I hope it's still good. I'm going to risk giving it a go to see what it's like because I never even tried it. I do believe this brand is completely discontinued now, but I don't want to just throw this out without trying it at all. And then for my kind of go-to favourite mascara, I'm putting in my Essence Lash Princess. I know and love this one, and just in case none of these work out, I do want to have an Old Faithful to fall back on. Onto my lipsticks. Have yet again a couple of new ones here to try. The first one being this NYX Liquid Suede, and this one is in the shade Soft Spoken. I don't think I've ever tried this formula before, but I've tried a few different NYX formulas and really enjoyed them, so I want to give this one a go. The next new one to try is this one from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this one is in the shade Rosewood. This is one that I picked up in TK Maxx, and it is a matte lipstick, and I have heard that their matte lipsticks can be quite drying, but I thought I'd give it a go because it is quite a nice shade, and obviously that was the point of buying it, to give it a try. And after mentioning it recently, I've put in the dose of colours in the shade Stone, so that I can hopefully finally make a decision, just in case they are a bit cheaper when I go to the US, then I can pick a full size up. So I wanted to wear this for a couple of weeks before going, just to see if I can finally make a decision on the shade. But absolutely love this formula. We then have this Too Faced Melted Lipstick in the shade Chihuahua. Completely forgot I had this, it was kind of in the back of the drawer. I remember loving this when I used to wear it quite regularly, so just wanted to put this one in again to give it a bit more love, and to be honest, it doesn't feel like it's got an awful lot in, so maybe finish it up. And then the final one I'm putting back in is the Huda Beauty Liquid Matte, and this is in the shade Venus. Again, after doing my recent favourite liquid lipstick formula videos, it made me want to pull this one back out as well, so I thought I would stick this one in, and I think I have a fair mix of shades in there now. I think that's everything, even though it looks a bit more empty than usual, but I don't think I've taken out too many extra products. So that is it for my everyday makeup drawer for the month of May and my review of April. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Thanks.